Yes, I am available. Good morning to
Okay.
you.
Brijesh sir, can we start or still there are 2 minutes?
Yes, you start.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Good morning to all of you. Welcome for this webinar series at Faculty of Management Studies, Parul University. And it would be a great pleasure that today's webinar not only just expert but who is also Manan Nayak, who is alumni of Parul Institute of Management, Parul University, and experts in area of HR. So I would like to welcome Manan as an alumni, as an expert at Faculty of Management Studies, so that students will learn so many things from her, from his experience based on HR, technology, and analytics. I would like to give a brief introduction about Manan Nayak, who is uh, alumni of Parul Institute of Management and Research, currently working with Adani Group, managing HR technology implementation, HR analytics projects. He has almost 7 years of experience and handled various roles, including HR business partnering, performance and talent management specialist, and employee engagement championship. So, welcome to you at this MBA program. Our students will get very good insights regarding HR, those who want to pursue their skills in HR and how they will have to handle their own self during this digital transformation. So thank you so much for sparing your valuable time for this webinar. We are having our that webinar coordinator, Dr. Sapna Chauhan, who is after the session, whatever the question answer session will be coordinated by her. And students, those who are having any queries related to HR specialization, those who want to pursue HR, and those who want to make a career, long-term career as a manager in this field, you can share your queries regarding that how you will have to mold your personality during this digital era. Thank you so much. I would like to hand over this platform to Manan Nayak. Thank you, Sapna Madam. Special thanks to Anirudh Tambe sir. So, if possible, Sapna Madam, just after this session, give this vote of after your vote of thanks. Tambe sir has coordinated this entire session. So, give 5 to 7 minutes because he was a student of PIM, Parul Institute of Management. So, sir is having a lots of insights about Manan as well. So, thank you so much, Tambe sir, for joining this program. I would like to hand over this platform to Manan sir. You can start your session. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'm not an expert. Okay, it was really humbling of Bijal ma'am to share that I'm an expert, but I'm not an expert. To be very honest with you, I am just as good as you are. Today, everybody present on this webinar. But yes, so before I start. I just hope that everyone is safe. I wish and pray that everybody is keeping safe in their home and everybody in the family is healthy. So please stay at home. Only go out if it's absolutely necessary. Take necessary precautions. I don't want to be yet another lady who talks on the phone calls before you call someone. So please stay at home and stay safe. So, before I start, I just wanted to, I was talking to Sapna ma'am the other day, and I wanted to know the demographics of who are the participants who are going to join me for this discussion. So, because what happens is that when we talk about HR, it becomes a little niche area of discussion because the ones who are passionate about pursuing HR in their long-term career, in their life, are the ones who may be able to relate to what I'll be talking about today. But I think the topic which we are going to discuss today is something which is going to impact each and every profession in the years to come. Right? So before we get started with this, I would just like to give a very brief introduction about myself, which ma'am has already given. I am with Adani. I'm currently I'm working as a program manager, HR technology and analytics. And, it has been a pleasure working with Adani Group so far. So I know, COVID has impacted each one of us in some or the other way, right? And I think technology uh, has played a very important role in um, kind of helping people sail through it, be it education or be it jobs or be it any area which earlier we used to feel that technology is a standby option to look for, but since COVID has hit, I think technology has picked up to such a large extent that it has become a part of our daily uh, routine to use various types of platforms or various types of technologies to get connected, collaborate with each other. So technology is something which is not, you cannot be in, it is not indispensable from any profession now, right? And so is the analytics. So I'm very excited to be with you today, and I have been with I have studied at Parul, so I have some great memories of Parul. But before we get onto the topic, I want to set the context that education is going to help you to handle the unknown. So when you are studying, education is going to help you handle the unknown aspect. So it is going to revolve around a lot of frameworks. It is going to revolve around understanding a lot of processes. It is going to revolve around understanding a lot of what do you call the procedural way of handling HR or the transactional way of handling HR. But experience is going to help you handle the unknown, or rather known, I would say, right? So experience is something which is going to help you understand and handle the known very well. And that is where I am here today in front of you to share, not as an expert, but just as one of your friend, one of your colleague, to share some experiences in how technology is transforming HR and how analytics is playing a very important role in driving HR delivery. So I don't know if we have if it's a interaction, but before we jump into the technology part of it, I want to know what is that one most important thing that an HR can give an employee today. Do we have somebody who wants to participate? I'm not sure. Sapna ma'am, do we have somebody who is going to participate? No? All right.
The students can very much participate here, what sir is asking.
Anyone? So this still happens to be the classic problem, right? So even while I was studying,
yeah,
I'm
please
sorry?
continue. No, I was also telling that the students, we have to literally push them to speak up, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, it will take some time.
No, that's all right. Let's not get into it. But so when we talk at various forums, or when you talk, the most common answer that we get about HR, and anybody who is aspiring HR manager of tomorrow, if you ask somebody, even in an HR organization, in an HR department, if you ask somebody, these are some of the most common answers that you are going to get. So you can, as an HR, you are going to give a career path to that employee or to the team. You're going to give a good amount of engagement. You're going to give a good amount of work-life balance to people. You're going to give them opportunities. You're going to give them vision and purpose about the job that they are doing, right? Sense of belonging and so on and so forth. But what most often what we miss out, is that the most important thing today that an HR can give an organization or give an employee is to help the organization win in the marketplace. So the point here is not to be an HR for HR. The point which I'm trying to make here is that you as an HR professional of tomorrow, it's very important that you help the organization win in the marketplace. you put organization in such a wonderful situation through various interventions that you take in HR and for the people of organization, that it wins in the marketplace. Because unless it wins and it does well in the market or in the outside world, all of these ancillary purposes, or I would say the core purpose of HR's existence is meaningless, right? So unless your organization is doing well, you will not be able to drive whatever jargons that you want to use, engagement or work life balance or vision or whatever it is, right? So as an HR, this is something which I think had somebody told me 7 years ago while I was doing my masters, I think it would have helped me kind of align faster with an organization whichever I join. So that is the point to make, right? So whenever it's very important that you kind of align well with the organization that you are joining and help the organization win more customers, win more people in the organization, win more people, enable more people to do well in the organization. So before we deep dive into it, I have the slide that you are seeing on your screen is a report from early 2019 from Deloitte, and it's a very interesting thing which is happening, and trust me, with the onset of COVID, this has rocketed like anything. I would not say shooted, I would say rocketed like anything, right? So 2018, nobody saw COVID coming, right? But COVID came. The way people have responded to COVID is tremendous. So has the organization and so has the technology. So if you see the rate of change of technology, I don't know if I'll be able to put a laser point. I'll just try to show. So if you see the rate at which against the time, the rate at which the technology has changed, you see the delta vis-a-vis the business productivity. So the point which I'm trying to drive here is that the organizations somewhere have not really optimally utilized the technology to increase their business productivities, right? And technologies like mobile, sensor, AI, ML, whatever you call it, it's there on the menu, and still the business productivity seems to be growing at a lesser pace than what the technology is offering, right? And if we take this one step further, you will be surprised that more than the businesses, the individuals are changing and aligning to the rate of change along with the technology. So why are we discussing this? I'll not talk about the public policy part of it because it's not really relevant at this point in time. But if you see the three graphs over here, the technology, the individuals, and the business, I think this is a huge opportunity for HR to help organizations close this gap, right? And that is exactly the point of discussion today, that whatever we as an HR we are learning today in the institutions like Parole or some other institutions, I would not want to name all of them, but whatever institutions that people are pursuing HR in, I think it's very important that this is something which gets planted into the minds of young managers to understand and align well and ensure that while they are learning the traditional HR concepts, they also learn how to implement technology. They also learn how to drive HR agenda through technology, because today HR and technology are two indispensable parts, right? You cannot have a pen and paper Babu style HR anymore. Please, there has to be some swagger in it, right? That is how I like to put it. So technology is going to be indispensable. Okay, so while the individuals are responding much faster than the businesses, I think this is a good sign for HR, because you will get a lot of support from people. They will adopt technologies more faster. They will be able to align with the HR technologies much faster than what businesses would, as per this study. But yes, there's a huge scope over here, and I think that early to start is going to fetch you a lot of bounty here, right? I don't know. This is a very small. There's a very small graph which I have. I don't know if it's visible on your screens, but this is this is a 2x2 matrix which was recently published in HBR, and it's very interesting. It says 21 HR jobs of the future. So just like how typewriters have gone out of the market, right? And now we have, I don't know, I was looking some video on YouTube the other day. You can simply type on your hand and it starts reflecting on the screen. So the point which I'm trying to make here is that the HR jobs which you perhaps are envisaging today while you are sitting at your desks in the institutions, in the colleges, are no longer going to be relevant 5 years or maybe 3 years from now, I would say, with the kind of rate of change that is coming. So I don't mean to scare anybody, or I don't mean to infuse that threat that this is what you are studying is going to be irrelevant. But what is important is to be mindful of the fact that the jobs in HR that you are looking for in the future are not the ones which exists today. However, I know that curriculum in the institutions are going to remain constant for certain more years, some more years. But what is important to know is that technology, in this very chart, if you see the level of technology centricity, if you see all the roles over here in this quadrants, all these 4 quadrants, very interestingly, it is all against level of technology centricity, right? So whatever you are, whatever dreams you have about fetching a job in any organization tomorrow, please be very mindful of the fact that you will have to have a hang of technology. And when we say technology is not about operating mobiles or operating laptops or Excel sheets, right? We'll come to that part in the subsequent slides and subsequent discussions in this presentation. But this is what I wanted to share, because this was a very interesting article which was shared. I would recommend everybody to log into, just Google it out and read it through. It will give you a good amount of insight on this. Okay. So it's very clear at this juncture as we stand right now, it's very, very clear that if you have to be ready for tomorrow's roles, okay, whatever competencies and capabilities that you have or which you are developing today through maybe training in the institutions or through the curriculum in the institutions are not enough, right? So if you are if you really aspire to land into a good place, and if you really aspire to add value as an HR, there are certain additional capabilities that you would need, which I have shown some of them over here. We'll be discussing 2 today, but these are, in my opinion, these are the 4 most important competencies and capabilities that perhaps in HR you can develop. So I can clearly envision that the future where HR professionals are kind of no longer thinking that their job is to just stay on top of the HR trends, right? One most common trend while I was pursuing my HR and while I was appearing for interviews during those days, the in thing was to stay on top of the on top of the HR concepts. While that is important, I'm not denying that it is not important. It is absolutely important. But at the same time, what is more important is to reposition yourselves to become the workforce advisors, right? So more as you get into the more intrinsic role of HR, it is very essential for every HR person to become or have that competency of a consultant. Okay, so the moment you become a consultant, you are going to enable the organization, you are going to enable the people of the organization to drive the HR deliverables in a much, much better way. So that is something which, I wanted to focus over here. So, it's self-readable. I don't know if the picture is very clear. I picked this up from one of my previous presentations. So, we have the new age HR competencies over here, which I think are the most important ones. That you can this list is, it's exhaustive. It's not just this 4. Let me tell you, this is my assumption and this is my experience that these 4 are the ones which are going to help you the most, right? Along with this, there are a few more, like embracing technology and analytics, which we'll talk about in data-driven and digital integration. But also understand how the company succeeds. And that is what we spoke about in the earlier slide, which is the business acumen over here, right? That exactly is one more additional skill set that an HR should have as you enter into the job market tomorrow. You also have to be ready for a new kind of a workforce, right? I'm sure that many of us would have heard contract labors, and contract labors in my previous assignment, we had a dedicated HR who used to handle contract labor management, right? And that was supposed to be the in thing then. Maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, that was supposed to be a semi niche kind of a skill set, right then. But it's no longer the same. Now we have a gig economy coming up, right? We have concepts like gig workers. We have expats. We have people who are working from maybe Canada or maybe US or at some random place in the world, and connected through Internet of Things and connected through various platforms to deliver effective results to the organization. So as an HR, you'll also have to be prepared for a new kind of I would say a new kind of a workforce, which is going to be very crucial for you, right? And above all, I think what is important and what is one key thing which is going to work for you as an HR professional is that you will have to constantly keep yourself updating. So what you learn today in your college is not enough. I am saying not enough in terms of it's probably enough in terms of answering your question papers in the exams, but not enough in the industry. While when you enter into the job market, you will be evaluated on a different parameter, because most of us would be freshers, right? But I think what you need to do is that you need to keep on updating yourself with new technologies or new skill sets rather, which are going to help you in implementing your HR concepts in a better way. Yeah, just give me a minute. So with that, let us discuss. I'll probably, because of time, I don't know, will not be able to discuss each of this, but I'll try to touch upon each of this. But let me talk about a very important aspect. And there is a myth that I was talking to somebody, and I was talking to my mentor, in fact, and I told him that I have been, I'm going to talk to the student fraternity, and Now, what should I talk about? Should I tell them, what are the best in class technologies, or what are the best in class technologies, or, what is, as an HR, what are those, I would say, new, fancy stuff which I can talk about. So he very subtly, he said that what is important for people to understand in college or at this stage of your career is that you need to have the basic understanding, the basic foundation of technology. Okay. That is something which is going to be very handy at this point in time, right? So what is digital mindset? When we talk about digital, what is digital mindset? It is not, most often we confuse the digital mindset and digital literacy to the fact that I know how to operate a computer, or I know how to operate a technological device. But that's not it, right? It is not about knowing. It is not just about, while it is a majority part of it, but it is not the only thing in digital mindset. What you need to have is a digital mindset is something which is a set of attitudes and behaviors which are going to enable the people and the organization to see the future possibilities about automating the regular mundane tasks that they are doing in their day-to-day life, right? So you need to see, whatever you are doing today, how effectively can you deliver. That is about digital mindset. It is not just about, you may know how to operate an Excel, but that is not it. Please trust me on this, that in our resume, I have often seen people writing technical skills as Microsoft Office, which makes no sense. Please avoid. If you have written that, please remove it immediately. It makes no sense, right? This is something which is going to make a lot of sense to the interviewers, that you have a holistic view about what digital is, what technology is, and you know how to embed technology and how to approach HR concepts in a more technical way, so that you leverage technology as an enabler of HR, right? And you build a more holistic culture about the technology and HR, right? So that is it, right? So along with this, I think few more competencies which are important is the design thinking part, right? So I don't know how many of you have heard about this concept of design thinking, but please Google it out. I'm sure that I'm not underestimating that people are not looking for this this buzzwords in the industry, but it is important that you also act on it, right? So design thinking, project management skills, your agile, all these concepts are going to be the next age, I would say, competencies and capabilities that you as an HR, you are going to require. Unless you equip yourself with this competencies and these capabilities, I think it will, I'm not saying that, people are not going to get their jobs, but the way you deliver the job is going to be very suboptimal, right? There'll always be somebody who is going to do it in a better way, because the person might have these skill sets in the market. Right? So moving to the next part, and since we are talking about technology and analytics today, that is the reason why I'm discussing, technology and digital mindset and database decision making, right? So according to a report of Deloitte, this is again in early 2019, only, you will be surprised to know that only 17% of the organization worldwide have accessible and usable data, HR data. I'm talking about HR fraternity having HR data, only 17%. And this is considering that there are millions and millions of organizations. This is a number which is not at all, it's not really very encouraging, right? And out of this 17%, you'll be surprised to know that only 2% qualified as having a business integrated data. When we talk that, we want to enable the business to win a market, right? Or business to succeed as an HR. When you have such low amount of data availability, which is 17%, and out of this 17%, only 2% qualifies to be a business integrated data. That means that only out of that 17%, 2% is in coherence with the business, which is even more alarming, right? So there are concepts which are increasingly which are coming up in terms of analytics, which are they're like decision tree, for instance, right? So analytics is certainly going to be one of the major themes in the years to come, because as we move ahead in this presentation, we'll see how analytics is going to play an important role in driving HR deliverables. Okay. So just a quick slide. I don't really want to talk much on this slide, but this is again a 2018 Josh Bersin. Please look up a gentleman called Josh Bersin on Google. I'm sure most of us who are into this area would have looked it up, but he is a stalwart in terms of analytics, and his sessions are worth understanding and listening to, right? So please do that after this session or whenever you get time. But if you see this model, if you see the maturity, these are the 4 levels at which today the analytics is in this is across the globe. Okay, so it says only 14% of the analytics is fragmented and unsupported, which means that there is some amount of crunching, Excel based data crunching, or maybe some other tool based data crunching which is happening, but it's very fragmented and unsupported by business. And trust me, when a data or when an analytics is not supported by a business need, the businesses are not going to own it up. Your CEOs are not going to own this data. And that is where we talk, there's a concept called the 3 Gs, right? Which talks about the CEO, the CFO, and the CHRO. And these 3 people are, often in Bollywood movies we have seen, right? The left hand and the right hand of a don, right? So if you call CEO the don of the company, the right hand is the CFO, of course, because he has the numbers with him, but then the left hand is the CHRO. And the war of getting on the table with these 2 guys, the CEO and the CFO, has been long, it's been years that this war has been going on. And the only thing that can win, that can help HR win a place at that table of discussion with a CEO and a CHRO is how you showcase the people analytics, how you show, through analytics, how you show that all your people practices have a definite ROI, return on investment, and how is it that whatever HR initiatives that you are implementing today in the organization are fetching good amount of value. I was listening to Leena Nair. Have you heard of her? I'm sure. Okay, this is not an interactive session, right? So Leena is the CHRO of Hindustan Unilever, and she was talking about analytics and digital implementation, digital transformation in HUL, and she said that they came up with a data point that per every dollar that they spent on an employee, they are earning a revenue of $2.50. So there is a wonderful YouTube video where David Green, who again is a stalwart for analytics, he runs his own channel, you should see it. But that is where she mentions that for every dollar, they are making $2.50, and such a data point for a CEO is so exciting that it immediately gives a sense of affirmation that the more you are going to invest into people and people technology, that includes analytics, of course, the more return you are going to get on it, right? So this is a brief. This is something which I thought is an important data point to discuss. And now that we have as we come to the technology part, so the point which I was trying to drive is that uh, there are two toolkits, I would say, right, which are available to you today in the market. One is your competency, which we spoke about. And while you are in that phase of developing competencies and capabilities, the most important ones today are digital and I would say program management or project management, agile, design thinking, right? So all these are is one bucket or is a toolkit which is available to you, and the other toolkit which is available to you today is that of technology, right? Now with this two toolkits, or two, I would say, two weapons, what is it that as an HR you are going to drive in the future? So when you say you have, now I've said that I have the technology and I have the skill set. As an HR, you are going to impact and deliver human resources in three major areas, right? First is the HR service delivery, which is more about your daily transactional kind of work, right? Which includes HRMS, which includes transactional efficiencies, which includes performance management, which includes talent tech. So I'll give an example rather than just theoretically talking about it. I think at HP, before I come to an example at Adani, the way we are implementing technology in HR, at HP they are using technology to predict and prevent the turnover of people. So there's a finding where it was based that people are leaving because of a low pay, right? However, that was not true. And when they got into the discussion and when the data was analyzed, that is where they came up with a finding that it's not just, it's a intrinsic combination of few more things which drives the person to leave the organization, right? We'll come to that later on. But in terms of HRMS, today there is a race, and there is PeopleSoft, there is Oracle, there is Darwinbox, there is Workday. I don't know, many more HRMS which are available in the market. HRMS is predominantly a tool which is going to help you drive your daily transactional HR in a more efficient way, right? And that is where the efficiency in delivering a better HR service to people. So I remember that years ago, performance would happen on pen and paper or on Excel sheets, right? Where you would fill up your goals, you would fill up your KRA KPIs. Those KRA KPIs would go to your manager. Your manager would then evaluate. The HR guy had to sit with that person and enable him to evaluate, right? So I think it was a very cumbersome exercise back then. And today, with the help of technology, in terms of HRMS, which are available, human resource management system, these processes have become very convenient and more effective, right? So there are more concepts. There are concepts of there are things like I would say there are things like continuous feedback system, right? So now a lot of organizations are done away with annual appraisals, right? There are more real-time feedback which people are given. Now, this is not possible unless there is a technology. Imagine that you have a workforce like at Adani we have about 11,000-12,000 employees. Now, just imagine, can a manager touch base with each of his team members on a regular basis or on a more continuous basis without the technology? Absolutely not, right? So that is where technology is supporting in terms of managing performance well. In terms of talent acquisition, there are various softwares which are there. Like I recently came across. I'm not trying to brand or I'm not trying to promote a particular brand over here. Please be mindful of that. But there is a software called Tidy, which enables you as a candidate and as a hiring manager. So you may be sitting somewhere, which is now available on this call also, but all the right from his sourcing till the time he is onboarded in the organization, all these processes are seamlessly, the hiring manager can do it on the on this particular software. So today with COVID, I think that has become so handy that organizations have been able to onboard a lot of people through use of technology, remotely. I see if you are on LinkedIn, you must be seeing posts that the goodie bags, or once people are hired, they are given those laptops and the mugs and the t-shirts and all those jazzy stuff. All those things. How do you think it's possible to onboard somebody who, the head office would be in Mumbai somewhere, and the person would be sitting somewhere in let us say Delhi, and he gets onboarded, he starts working with the employee, with the team, with the manager so seamlessly that the whole concept of workplace has changed because of this, right? So that is one very important area that HR service delivery is getting impacted through technology. The second is the engagement and empowerment, right? So there are two aspects. I didn't want to make it four, so I thought of putting it into engagement and empowerment. Engagement, I think, is one big area where technology is at the forefront of it, right? In terms of chatbots or in terms of digital assistant. So today when you go, I don't know how many of you have SBI bank account, but SBI has a chatbot which, the moment you log in, it pops up, and you can ask some question which you have related to maybe your account, or maybe you want to get a credit card, or maybe you want to get a loan, and the moment you put in, it is going to prompt you, right? So what has happened is that engagement of a person has increased to make sure that the life of people, the areas where there are repetitive queries, and to kind of free up the space of individuals and HRs from those routine transactional activities which are mundane in nature, chatbots and digital assistant are of great use. And this is where perhaps, I was, again, to give an example, we are currently at Adani, we are trying to implement a chatbot. And these chatbots are based on AI and ML concepts, right? So when I say AI and ML, it's artificial intelligence and machine learning. So, you'll be surprised that these chatbots, we have to initially feed them with a lot of inputs. However, over a period of time, you would see that these chatbots and these digital assistants, they are going to start learning on their own. They are going to improvise, right? So that is where the technology and the analytics is going to play a very important role. Also, when we have this technology and this analytics, the scalability and the personalization becomes a big advantage. Let me give you an example. Most of us, today who are present on the call would have known that that learning L&D or training and development, I would say, not the hard, the hard training part of it. I'm talking more in terms of the soft skills or the training that generally HR used to organize for employees, right? There were certain set of standard programs which we had to offer, which were based on a concept called training need identification. So at the start of the year, you would see that somewhere in June, July, once your PMS is done, you would roll out a form to employees saying that you please tell us what are your needs, what are your training needs, what is it that you want to get trained into. And this is a thing of past now. That is where technology has come in. So what has happened is that today there's a concept of LMS, which is more for the administrators of learning, right, who are L&D professionals. It is more for them, where it can enable them to enroll people on an HRMS for the training programs. They can enroll, they can mark their attendance, they can share the content, they can share the learning materials over these platforms, right? And if you take one step ahead, more than the LMS part, what has changed is the LXP, which is Learning Experience Program, right? So where it is a two-way exchange. It is not just that the HR is organizing trainings for people, HR is enrolling people, but it is also peer-to-peer learning, which is more often referred to as peer-to-peer learning, where I as an individual, I can share some content if I think that this is worth for one of my colleagues to read. I can put it on the LXP, and the other person can read it and learn from it. So this is something which would not have been possible without technology, and this is where the technology has kind of accelerated the pace of learning. Today we are seeing that there are a lot of platforms like Udemy, or which has a very funny ad. I don't know if you have seen that, but there is Simply Learn, or there are what we have at Adani is we have a more personalized way of learning in terms of eVidyalaya or Percipio, we call it, right? We have partnered with an organization called Percipio, who offers a more curated and a more personalized learning for its employees. So it is like Amazon, right? When you buy things on Amazon, or when you buy things on Flipkart nowadays, it tells you that people with I'm sure you must have tried, right? So if you buy some shirt on a since I only buy shirt, I don't know, but when you buy shirt on a Myntra website, it also gives you a suggestion that people who have bought this shirt have also bought these jeans, right? So it gives you more personalized content, more personalized learning, where based on your daily searches on Google, or based on your emails that you share, or your profile, these learning platforms would help you curate a personalized learning path. And that is where we talk about the empowerment of learning, and giving that freedom to employees to kind of design their own learning path, right? And last but not the least of all, I think the biggest value add that technology and analytics has done is to enable HR leaders to take systematic decisions, right? So there is now the decision making has become more robust, as is driven by a lot of data, is driven by a lot of inputs from technologies, right? And I would like to quote one example over here that today a lot of organizations have very common models like flight risk, for example. In terms of flight risks, it talks about it is more like a attrition predictor. So it helps you through various models and various data that you have, it will allow you to predict which person is more likely to leave the organization. So when you analyze, when you see the data from past, you would see that a person who has not been enrolled for training, a person who has not been given a promotion since last whatever years, I don't know, or somebody who has not been rewarded more frequently. There can be n number of data points which will help you as an HR to identify who is more likely to leave the organization, right? And today, in terms of talent acquisition, also a lot of analytics is playing role, right? Where there are where there are data points that people from X kind of a background or from X companies or X experience or X industries tend to stay longer rather than fresh from the institutions or whatever it is, right? There are gamification concepts which are being used. So you must have heard that this was long ago while I was in college. I had heard that Facebook uses code. It asks people to come into their campus or sit wherever they want and code, and the one who codes perfectly and the fastest gets the job. So there is no, I'm not saying that there is no formal interview. There are formal interviews, but the methods and the ways in which you are selecting people today has changed because of the technology. A lot of gamification has come into play. For example, in Google, you are to test your patience, they would ask you to kind of they have designed not a PUBG but some other kind of a game which tests your patience, and you can operate it, and they would test you for how patient you are. This is they are more curated to the kind of role that they are hiring for, right? So these are some of the areas where technology and analytics is playing. Before we conclude today's session, I think the one important takeaway which I can share, and this is not as any expert, as earlier I was mentioned, but as a experience sharing which I want to share, is that if you are I would say if you are aspiring to be a successful HR guy tomorrow, or a lady, I would say, a person, I don't want to be gender biased here, but if you are trying to be, if you are aspiring to be a more successful HR person tomorrow, I think you will have to accept the reality that tomorrow's HR and technology are something which are indispensable. And while you are studying the traditional concepts in your colleges and in your curriculum, it is also important that you start equipping yourselves to these capabilities, which we discussed earlier, right? What is going to happen is that perhaps by the time you learn these capabilities, there will be something else which is going to take place, which is going to come in the market. So the only thing that is going to change, the fundamental of HR has not changed. Please be mindful. The whole purpose of HR in the industry has not changed over a period of time. The only thing which has changed over a period of time is the capability toolkit and the tools that you have to deliver your HR for these three areas, right? So in these three areas, that is something which has changed. So this is something which I really want to share. This is something which I wanted to share, that you please get on board with this. Try to get on some along with your traditional HR concepts. Try to learn something, or try to have a certification which helps you understand what is people analytics or analytics in general. Try to be on board with what are the technological solutions which are coming up in each of the So in TA, in L&D, in performance, what are those technological advancements and technology assistants which are available, which can help you drive HR in a more effective way? And before I close the session, I think most of us know who Denzel Washington is, and there's a beautiful saying which says that a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking, right? Because its trust is not on the branch but on its own wings. So I think as an HR, it's important to build your own wings along with the kind of strong foundation that you are already undergoing or developing at your university. It's also important to have an additional set of wings which are going to help you flap your wings in a better and a faster way, so that so that the HR professional of tomorrow is more a reality for you and not a nightmare. So I think that is all from my end. I have tried to cover as much as possible, but in case if I have missed out, here are my coordinates. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. We can discuss. I can learn from you. We can mutually, and of course, one major capability which I missed out on mentioning earlier in this particular slide was collaboration and hard work. So all these jargons and all these concepts are immaterial without, I would say, good amount of collaboration with people and tremendous hard work. These are the two. It's easy said and done. I am also into that journey, so I'm not trying to be a preacher over here, but I think hard work is irreplaceable by any competency. That is something which you must have along with all these. And with that, I wish you all the best for your exams. I don't know the format which is going on, but whatever format it is, if it is online, please nail it and do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Manan, and it was a very interesting session and lots of things discussed with the students of ABA. And I've got a message from one of the students. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. Sorry.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so one of the questions from the student, they talk about HR disruption. And second, they say that the HR jobs are going to dissolve very soon. And on the other side, they say that HR are entering boardrooms. So it's a kind of a contradictory situation. So what's your thought on that?
So it's a good question. Let me tell you that. And HR disruption, I would say yes. So HR jobs are going to go. Please be mindful of that fact. And that is the whole purpose of today's discussion, right? That what you were doing today, who wants to be the head of payroll? I don't know. I have not come across a guy who wants to be head payroll. Okay. I don't see roles which were in demand perhaps 10 years ago or 5 years ago are any longer relevant. So it is going to replace, and I would not say the HR jobs are going to go away. What I mean to say is that HR jobs are going to evolve. And when you talk of evolution of HR jobs, the thing which I have discussed today along with you is more on the lines of what is going to help you to stay up to date and more relevant even if the roles are changing. So you need to have certain competencies which you will have to keep on developing and inculcating over a period of time. At the same time, you need to have a digital mindset, a transformational mindset, so that you are adopting technologies and you are implementing technologies in a more coherent and a natural way. So I think HR has a great role to play. We have already seen that with many organizations. We have already seen that in during the COVID times that HR was at the forefront. I think the only thing which is going to make HR still win 100% place at the boardroom is going to be its ability to understand numbers and its ability to, I would say, show ROI in a more effective and a more scientific way. That is all.
Yes. Thank you for a wonderful answer. I think any challenging situation is an opportunity, and that is what I think you also believe, Manan. And the disruption is happening anyways. We all of us know that, but then we have to evolve our capabilities, catering the requirements of the industry. We have many more questions. In fact, I have many questions in mind running, but we have short of time. So Tambe sir is here with us, and thank you, Tambe sir, for joining us.
My pleasure, ma'am. In fact, ma'am, even if we are short of time, I have one question to ask, if you permit. Hello?
Sure, sir.
Am I
Sure,
audible?
sir. Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Yes,
please.
yes, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
First of all, I must
Clear?
thank Manan for being here. But before I formally thank him, let me ask my question. See, it is said that the world is moving towards a gig economy, G-I-G,
Yeah.
gig economy, where there won't be any permanent employees on the permanent payroll of the companies. So in
Correct.
such a situation, already it is said that 30% of the American workforce is gig workforce.
Yes.
And what happens in USA, it doesn't take too much time to come to India.
Yeah.
So in face of this type of gig economy, how do you see what is the role of HR in managing a corporate in gig economy?
So, Tambe sir, it's wonderful to hear your voice after so many years, and
Same here.
thank you for posing this question. In fact, it's a wonderful question, and while I uh, I may be a few years behind in answering this question to the best possible way, but yes, gig economy and gig workers is is the reality of tomorrow. And not very far or not very in no time we would see, we have already started seeing that in terms of contract workers, the concept of contract work that we already have is slowly evolving into gig worker economy. So you would see that one person is working for multiple organizations, and there is no permanent kind of there is no role like a permanent employee. In this case, the role of an HR is going to primarily revolve around building a good amount of experience and engagement for those individuals. It's also about managing the roles in a more effective way. So not all the roles, I'm not I don't envision, with whatever limited experience that I have, I don't envision that everything is going to go to the gig economy. But yes, there are certain repeatable, there are certain more niche roles, I would also say, where we would see a good amount of gig economy, gig workers playing its role. But yes, I think again, I would like to focus on the very fundamental aspect that no matter whatever is, we, as an HR, we will expect a new kind of a workforce. but the role or the fundamental responsibility that then HR has towards its employees is not going to change much. So what might change is your way to approach those gig economy workers, but not really the way you infuse the human aspect into dealing with them, the kind of experience and the kind of opportunities which you make them opportunities which you give them. That is something which is going to be very that is something which is going to be a game changer for these set of workers.
Thank you. Thank you so much.